your lovely faces there as well. So let's make a start. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, it's lovely to see so many faces. We are going to go through, I think, a healthy and vibrant 2023 is what I've called it. And that's, to all intents and purposes, that's why we're here, to make 2023 our most healthiest year yet. What I want to share with you tonight is a little bit about my backstory, where I've come from, how, we've just been through a festive season. There's been, probably for a lot of you, there's been a lot of Christmas overindulgence. Anyone relate to that? Anybody found Christmas a little bit overindulgent? Anybody feeling sluggish, lethargic? Anybody suffering with a bit of acid reflux? It's very, very common, isn't it? And of course, we're bombarded with all kinds of reasons to eat treat foods at Christmas. So we'll talk a little bit about Christmas indulgence and treat foods. Talk a little bit about my backstory, because of, why I'm doing this. Why am I here standing in front of you as a health, vitality and weight loss coach when a year ago I was an IT consultant? So I'll tell you a little bit about what happened for me. And then we're going to talk about your health, and you're very, very welcome to share what's going on for you. I'd love to know more about why you're here, what it is you want to get out of the workshop, and so on. The exercise part of tonight, where the workshop part is to help you understand your reasons for why you eat, for emotional reasons, for comfort, for reward, for pleasure, for celebration. We all do it. We eat for so many different reasons other than feeding ourselves nutritious food, don't we? And sometimes, which is fine, but sometimes those emotional reasons for eating can push it over the boundaries, and we're ending up with weight gain and poor health and acid reflux and so on and so forth. Somebody's cooking in the kitchen, so you can probably hear the alarm going off. Who's burning what? And then so we're going to really dig deep into your health concerns, what could be holding you back, and understanding the reasons for our emotional eating. I'm going to give you a strategy that you can use to really understand it. Once we understand it, once we can see what's going on, then we're in a much better position to deal with it and to make conscious, healthier choices. And for those of you who stay to the end, I am going to make you a special offer on my next class that's coming up, if you think that's something you'd like to do. So here's me a few years ago. Life and soul of the party, love a cocktail, love meals out, very sociable. And I used to celebrate with food a lot, and I still do. I used to associate occasions like Christmas with food and drink, more so than it would be about the people who I was connecting with on that occasion. So it would be, I'd go to a party and I'd be thinking, what food's going to be there? And the first thing I'd be looking for was, what's the food look like? Is there any, is there anything nice? What cakes have they got? And I would be more preoccupied with what food was there than, well, what am I going to do at this party? Am I going to have a dance? Who am I going to connect with? What am I going to talk about? So it was just, the food became the top of the list of priorities on these occasions, because I was just, really controlled by food. Can anybody relate to that? Feeling controlled by food? Yeah, a few nods there. It's fairly normal, it's fairly standard. Holidays, not just Christmas, but going away on holiday. It was always, we're going to Greece, right? We're going to try the souvlaki. We're going to try the pita gyros. We're going to have the kefalonia meat pie. We're going to everything we could possibly sample. And there's nothing wrong with a good gourmet food experience. And of course, there's nothing wrong. We all want to sample the local delights, but I would think I was a little bit out of balance. For me, it was, what can I have? Rather than where are we going to go? What are we going to see, etc. What are we going to do? So, and it was fun, it was a lot of fun, but there was a downside to all that. And the downside to that, having so many food occasions, was that I ended up feeling bloated, tired and lethargic, short term, with acid reflux. Those were the short-term effects. Every year I'd gain a little bit more weight because I'd never quite managed to release all the weight that I put on. And of course, when an event came up, like my wedding or, you know, something you want to look nice for, holiday, you'd be crash dieting. Anybody tried that? Crash dieting? Got to get some weight off and fast? Yeah, we've all done it, haven't we? And when we can go to some pretty drastic measures. And sometimes we can get a few pounds off. I managed to get a few pounds off for my wedding 4 years ago. But the problem with that is, who wants to tell me what the problem is with yo-yo dieting or crash dieting? Penny, do you want to come on the microphone? What's your experience, lovely? I can't hear you yet. Let me press a button to see if you can...
Aha,
there we are.
I think I found it. Hello.
Hi, Penny.
Hello there. Hello. And thank you for doing this for us. It's very, very, very good for us. Over the years, I've tried many, many diets. You name them, I've probably done them. And yes, you do it and you lose some weight. Children's weddings. Oh, yes, got to look nice for stepchildren's weddings because the other mother's coming and you want to look better. So, yes, I don't sound very nice, do I? But you've done all of that. And, of course, the weight comes back on again. So now this is good.
Of course it does. Anybody else relate to that? Yeah, it's so many of our experiences, isn't it? So it's not sustainable. And worse, it's not healthy. It's not healthy because what happens when you crash diet is you drastically reduce the amount of nutritious food you're eating. So then you become undernourished, dare I even say malnourished, and you end up craving more food than you restricted in the first place. And so you're in this vicious cycle of just denial and deprivation and pain, and creating all kinds of problems in the body as you go, who knows what you're doing to your metabolism. Anyway, that was me, and that was me for 30 years. And because of the progressive weight gain, I found myself feeling very uncomfortable indeed in my body. Very, almost I would say ashamed. I've got to be honest with you. I felt ashamed. Now, okay, everybody's a different, we're all different shapes and sizes. And I believe in self-confidence and feeling good in your skin, no matter what size or shape you are. Yeah, I have the greatest admiration for the larger women. I idolize the larger women models who can feel that self-confidence in their skin in a larger size. I love that. I didn't get that. I felt awful in my body. I felt ashamed. I couldn't fit into any nice clothes. I found it very, very difficult to find anything flattering. And then I'd try on what I thought was a really nice dress. It fit me. But if I zoomed in on that picture, all you could see is bulgy belly. And I just didn't like seeing the photos of myself, which meant it made me unhappy. So, I coped. I've always had a nice life. I've always done lots of lovely things, but this weight held me back. But more to the point, and this is what we were just talking about, dieting isn't the answer, ladies, as we know. I haven't got any gents in the room, have we? I do coach gents as well. Dieting isn't the answer for the reasons we've talked about, not just the restriction. Do you know what? Even what you might consider to be a reasonably healthy diet, like one of the better ones that are going around that promote healthier eating, even on those, there's very often people gain more than they lost in the first place when they stop, because you're either on it or you're off it, aren't you? You're either on the diet or it's like, oh, I'm not on a diet this weekend. I'll just have a break and I'll start again on Monday. The other reason why diets don't work for most of us is it requires a lot of willpower. Now, some got strong willpower. Who in this room's got strong willpower? Give us a little wave if you have willpower. Pennies like that. Yeah. Anybody got really good willpower? You do come across them sometimes. I don't. I have zero willpower. I could never stick to a thing. I was rubbish. And what tends to happen then is we think it's our fault. We think, oh, it's my fault. I can't stick to a diet. I got no willpower. So I blamed myself for a long time. Anybody else done that? Blaming yourself for not being able to stick to a diet? Let me let you off the hook, my darlings. It's not our fault. People don't fail diets. Diets fail people. Diets are designed so that you have to keep paying and keep coming back and keep joining again. They're not designed to be the permanent solution. Otherwise, there would be no diet industry. Maybe that's a little bit cynical, but the evidence would point to that being the way, wouldn't it? It ignores the psychology of what motivates us, and we feel like we're punishing ourselves all the time. And how long can you continue with that? You know, how long can you keep that up? Guilt gets in the way. You think it's your fault. You think, oh, what's the matter with me? Can't stick to anything. I used to think, right, so I'm an achiever. I've done loads of things in my time. I changed careers. I wanted to go from being a medical physicist to being a computer programmer. So I trained myself up and I did it. I achieved what I wanted to do. I wanted to lead a choir of 800 people in Cardiff Bay. I did it. I wanted to go around Arizona and New Mexico and Colorado on a Harley Davidson. I did it, ladies. I'm a motorbiker. Could I lose weight? No. So it made me feel, what's the matter with me? I can do anything, but I can't lose weight. And that is because it ignores the vital thing, which is your psychology, the motivation, the reasons why you want to eat, not to mention the hormones that are driving us to eat and all the different kinds of hunger there are. We will come to that. So, not your fault. 2-3 years ago, I had a major revelation. And if you've been following me at all, you'll know a little bit more about this. I learned a new way of eating that wasn't a diet, but it was aligned with nature. I learned to eat much more naturally, real food, not diet food, not shakes and supplements, but real food, the way we were designed to eat, the way human beings were meant to be eating. And lo and behold, it turns that when you're eating the way nature provided, it puts you in the best health. And I didn't even know that I wasn't well, because we've talked a lot about weight loss, but what I hadn't realized was that I was suffering with stiff joints. So I am 51 now, and I've overcome the stiff joints in the last 2.5 years. Since I've been eating this way, I no longer seize up when I'm standing, but for probably 2 decades, probably 20 years before that, I was like, oh, why am I so stiff all the time? What's the matter with me? Coming down the stairs, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced this. In the morning, I'd be so stiff before I did a bit of stretching. I'd have to come down the stairs sideways like this. Has anybody done that? You're holding the handrail and you're coming down sideways with 2 feet on one step, because I didn't have the flexibility to actually raise my knees to come down the stairs that way. And I would ask everybody, what's the matter with me? Why am I so stiff and achy? Nobody told me. 20 years. No doctor, no massage therapist, no chiropractor ever told me it's inflammation in your body, love. Nobody told me. And now I know it was inflammation in my body causing me stiff joints. I was worried that I had osteoarthritis or something, and I was going to, get creaky bones really early, really young. Wasn't that? It was just inflammation. Who's experienced this? Stiff joints. Yep, Petra. Achy joints, joint pain. It's not uncommon. It's probably one of the most common symptoms I see when women come to me and join my program or are looking for a solution. The next most common thing is low energy. Afternoon slump. Anybody get that? Penny, Wendy. Yeah, afternoon slump. Very, very common. And of course, we all think it's normal, don't we? Because society tells us, oh, afternoon slump, have a coffee. Have a bit of caffeine, wake yourself up again. Have a bar of sugar, have a bar of chocolate, something with sugar in it to give you a boost. And of course, it's keeping us stuck because that's playing hell with our blood sugars. And so we're stuck and we feel like we need a nap in the afternoon. I did the whole time. My kids now are 15 and 16. But when they were, anything up to a couple of years ago, really, I was exhausted all the time. And I didn't know it was the way I was eating. So optimal health, what can be gained when you start to eat more aligned with nature, is inflammation reduces, sleep improves, skin tends to improve. Most people will tell me their skin has become better, and just everything improves because your health improves. It's not a magic wand, it's just your health improves. And as a result of your health improving, lots and lots of unexpected things improve. For me, allergies reduced, lots of minor ailments. I was the queen of lotions and potions. I had a lotion and a potion for everything: acne, athlete's foot, cold sores, little bit of eczema here and there, sometimes a fungal skin infection that would show itself up. I had a treatment for that. Breaking nails, thinning hair, had that as well in my late 30s. My hair started to go thin. That worried me. Imagine going, imagine starting to recede or starting to thin or go bald, especially for a woman. That was a big worry. Anyway, all those things improved for me. And the things that we had, and weight loss, well, that just happens to be a side effect of eating well. Who knew? Yes, we don't try and lose weight when we eat for health. We stop trying, because if you try and lose weight, you become undernourished. What we do is we eat for nourishment. We eat for health. We eat to get all the nutrients. We eat to feel full. We eat to feel light. We eat to feel bouncy. We eat so that we are sleeping better, and we eat for energy and all these things. So that was the revelation. I need to speed up a little bit. And contrast the previous picture of natural foods and nature with what we are presented every day. Now, this is what food looks like now, right? Supermarkets, packets, boxes, takeaways, fast food, convenience food. Oh, healthy food in a plastic bar with 40% added sugar. That's what a granola bar consists of, isn't it? They brand things as health foods that have no place being called a health food, let's be honest. So what are we to do? We're bombarded with this all the time. So it's no surprises that it makes it hard for us, because we're constantly bombarded. And this is what the food industry does. It keeps us hooked. And I'm going to let you into a secret, which probably won't be a secret at all. I'm going to zoom in on that photo. There is keeping us hooked, right? What is it that keeps us hooked? Okay, so it's the bright colors, the packaging, the convenience, this level in the supermarket, the marketing, the advertising, but there's something else, something really important in this picture that's keeping us all hooked. Who can tell me what it is? Diane's got the answer. Anybody else? Right, Diane, are you driving? Can I unmute you? Not if you're driving. Let's see if you can unmute. Hello, Diane, lovely.
Sorry. Yes, the sugar itself keeps us so very, very hooked. It makes us want more and more and more.
I couldn't have put it better myself, Diane. It does indeed. The sugar keeps us hooked. And every single product in that photograph contains sugar. Believe it or not, if you go into the supermarket and look along these aisles where we've got obviously biscuits, we've got cereals, we've got even savory biscuits got sugar, anything that's ready made, or like a jar of ready, sauce, a jar of sauce. Okay, some of these sodas, fizzy pops, might have artificial sweetener instead of sugar. Who knows if that's better? But to a great extent, and that's addictive too. Artificial sweetener, we know that's addictive too. So with the sugar and with their artificial flavor enhancers and their all kinds of things that they put in there to enhance the flavors, they are keeping us hooked. And it's all about profit. So, oh, and I've just thrown that one in. You saw a picture of me a few years ago, feeling frumpy and heavy and not happy in my dress. Well, now I feel fabulous. And I released 20 pounds on the program when I did it the first time. which was enough to make a difference of 2 dress sizes for me. And that 2 dress sizes made a huge difference. And I'm now maintaining comfortably, effortlessly at 3 dress sizes below where I was at my heaviest, when I was at my most desperate. And so it just feels like the world has changed for me, completely changed for me, because now I'm not struggling all the time. I know how to release a few pounds. I know how to gain a few pounds as well, ladies. Christmas. I know how to gain. I know how to release. I know how to maintain. I know how to eat for health, and I can do whatever I want. And I'm not struggling all the time, because I was struggling because of the convenience foods and the junk foods and we're not going to go there anymore. You get the idea. Let's talk about you. Now, in this room, who do we have? What are your main health concerns? Mine was my weight, but I didn't know it was also the joint stiffness, the allergies, the minor ailments. And who knows, could I have been heading for type 2 diabetes? Because both my mum and dad got that. And I think I probably would have gone the same way. They're sorted as well now. They've been on my program and they are now post-diabetic, which is amazing. That, it feels like such a gift to have healthy parents in their 70s and 80s. So who do we have in the room who would like to share? What are your health concerns? Anybody concerned about chronic illnesses or the worrying about getting something as you start to get older? Would anyone like to share? Penny, Wendy, Jen, anything?
I'll go. I'll own this. So my weight obviously not obviously, my weight definitely bothers me. I think the impact it has on my asthma, and therefore being out of breath very, very easily. And having had some allergy tests done, I'm pretty much allergic to most of the world. So I'm sure, I know that food plays into that, and I must admit I cut out most gluten, not all, but most gluten. Bread is stopped. So that eating more healthily, but I still have some blocks to kind of going all the way. And I think some beliefs that are in there that are probably holding me back, because I've always been big, I always will be.
Yeah. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? Yeah. That was one of the key things I learned, was that I needed to step into a new identity as being, and it started with health before weight for me. And it started with my new identity was I'm the one that does yoga twice a week. And I still at my heaviest, but I was going into that class. And I was the largest one in the studio. But I thought, it doesn't matter. I'm getting better and better at this. I'm the one that does yoga. And I developed a new identity as someone who does yoga. And that was the start, I think, of my health journey. And you're so right. It's so much in how we see ourselves, isn't it? The psychology of health and weight loss is, one of the most important things that we need to address. Thank you for sharing, Wendy. So it could be a lack of energy, as we've talked about. It could be illness, a chronic illness. It could be a gut disorders, type 2 diabetes. It could be heart disease that's worrying us. It could be high blood pressure. I've had many clients come along with severely high blood pressure on medication, and finding that just by changing the way they eat, they can deal with that. It's just incredible. And it seems to be that the medical profession doesn't really know about it. I mean, if you go along to the GP and they say, oh, your blood pressure is really high, is that high? You're going to need to start taking medicine. At what point did they say to you, do you know you can get your blood pressure down by changing the way you eat? They don't, do they? They just give you they medicate because that's what they understand. And don't get me started on big pharma, but it's all about money at the end of the day, isn't it? But actually, we are here to, I am certainly on a mission, and so many other WILDFIT coaches and health coaches are also on a mission. And I invite you to join me on this mission of telling the world that we don't always need medication. Sometimes what we need is just change the way we're eating, improve the way we're eating, and things will almost miraculously improve very often. So pick the thing that you, I know Wendy shared, but what it was you were thinking in your head, the health concern that you were just thinking about for everyone now. If you could improve that health concern, if you could reduce your risk of long-term chronic ailments, if you could improve the flexibility, that feel more vital, have more energy, release some weight, feel lighter, feel bouncier, have more self-confidence, enjoy a better relationship with food where you're not feeling deprived, but you're wanting to eat for health. How would that change your life? How would that feel? Yeah. Would anybody like to come on the microphone and say what difference that feeling would make in their life? Shall I pick Penny?
Again, thank you. So I've discovered recently that I'm gluten intolerant, and following a better way of eating has made a huge difference to my gut. So that's amazing. That really is amazing. And what's been interesting is that I thought it was just wheat that's got gluten, but I've discovered that when you're gluten intolerant, you have to, anything that grows like a grass has got gluten in it. So corn and rice and all of those. So that's been an eye opener for me. I found that when I'm eating better, I'm not so tired anymore. So that's interesting. I used to always have to have a nap in the afternoon. I thought it was kind of like normal, that I needed a nap in the afternoon, but that's now stopped, and I don't need the extra caffeine or anything. So it's made a big difference.
Oh, amazing, Penny. Congratulations. Well done for the changes you've made and the improvements you've seen.
I need a lot more.
There's always room for more improvement, isn't there? But what you've done is you've proven to yourself that changes in the way you eat can result in improvements in your health and the way you feel in your body.
Yes,
you've
absolutely.
proven it.
Yeah.
And now you know that you are almost certainly motivated to want to make more improvements, because you know that the effort you put in, you're going to get back out in terms of how you feel. That's how it works. That's how it works, not through deprivation. And it's about, look, when I'm eating better, I feel better. That's what this is all about. Thank you, Penny, for sharing. So to everyone else, no need for everyone to share, but just have a think. What does this mean to you? What difference would it make to your life if you could improve that thing or those issues? If you could be free, and I'm not talking about being free but eating boring food. I am talking about being free and eating any food that you want. Because what happens here is, and I know various diets will say, oh, you can eat any food you want. And what they mean is you can save up all your sins till the end of the week and then you can have a chocolate biscuit. I used to save as much as I could for a Friday so I could have a takeaway, and I just completely blow it. I'd saved like 10 sins, but I needed 40. Anyway, I digress. I don't mean that this is about having a life free with good health and good energy, but you're eating like a rabbit. I don't mean that at all. I mean true food freedom, because once you know, like Penny has said, how certain foods react in your body, you're free to choose. So you could still have the bread, but you're going to suffer the next day with inflammation and joint stiffness or gut disorders. So now you're free to go, well, do I have the bread? Do I have a better quality bread? Do I have less bread? Do I have bread less often? You're free to choose. So it's this total freedom around what you can and can't have once you know what feels good for you. So that's what we're talking about. And what other areas of your life would improve? How would it impact on those people close to you? Would you be nicer to be around? We often see mood improving. Has anybody noticed their mood improves when they're eating better? Yeah, few people nodding. I've certainly had a number of clients well, many clients say their mood improves when they're eating better, but a couple who've actually put in their testimonial that they have been lifted from a depression. It's remarkable. And now there is firm scientific evidence to suggest that food and mood are related. There is now evidence. So science is getting there. And what is it you think holds you back? Is it lack of willpower, which we've now poo-pooed? Is it too many special occasions? That's what it was for me. Is it an addiction to sugar, which I think to a great extent we all have? Who feels that they're a little bit addicted to sugar? Yeah, and that's natural and normal, completely natural and normal to be addicted to sugar, because what happens is the way we've evolved is when there's fruit around, the human body was designed to go and get all the fruit. You know, it's like, oh, fruit around, right, let's get it, you know, because those of us who are the survivors, you know, the survival of the fittest were the ones who had the biggest cravings and went off and got most of the fruit. So it's natural to crave sweet stuff. Compulsive eating. Well, if you think about it now, these days, sweet treats and junk foods are all around us. So whenever we're feeling down or low or we want to boost, we just reach out and it's there. So it ends up, of course it ends up compulsive. I think most of us would say that to some extent we're compulsive eaters. Of course it is. So available. I would love to go through a little exercise with you. We've got a range of delicious looking treats on this page, which it depends on how you see them. Some of these I see as special treats. Some of them I see as utter rubbish. I don't know how you see them, but I'm not judging. Everybody's, you know, we never judge people's food choices. What we need to do is look at them objectively. So we've got some chocolate biscuits, some chocolate cake, some chocolates. Who's got a lot of chocolates left over from Christmas? Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because you buy or you're given chocolates and then you're like, right, come on now, January's here, let's put Christmas behind us. But there's those wretched chocolates still in there, the brightly coloured packets sitting there, aren't they? Calling to your sugar addiction. You know, lattes, nobody's saying there's anything wrong with lattes, but it's this constant coffee shop culture, isn't it, with the cake and the coffee and then we've got convenience. We've got Friday night, oh, let's have a pizza, can't be arsed, can't be bothered. Cheese, whose thing is cheese? Oh yes. And you know, cheese, it can hold you back a bit, can't it? It held me back because I was on cheese every single night. Cheese and crackers, love this, cheese and crackers. Oh, and let's have a glass of wine as well. Because it just became a habit and it became a bit of a crutch. So we're going to talk about that next. So pick your go-to treat or comfort food or convenience food, whatever it is. Notice we haven't once said nutrition. These are the reasons we're eating that aren't for nutrition. Yeah, if you were eating for nutrition, you probably wouldn't pick one of those. We're eating for convenience or comfort or reward or celebration, or because we're feeling sad, any number of things. Now, if you eat a lot of those foods, like we tend to over Christmas, or like I did, where there were way too many special occasions, how do you end up feeling? Who wants to tell me? We end up feeling, well, the first one is if we've had too much to drink, that's hungover. We have too much to drink, we end up feeling hungover, don't we? Story of my life that was for 30 years. Gut ache, yeah, bad tummy, feeling bloated, maybe, you know, maybe worse, maybe wind, maybe acid reflux. And then maybe even feeling a little bit, queasy. If we've you know, I can remember those days, wanting more and more and more on Christmas Day, another glass of Bailey's, and ending up feeling actually quite queasy. But that's pretty extreme, isn't it? But how do they feel in your body? And like Penny said, it doesn't take much. It could be that you're gluten intolerant and bread makes you feel, you know, you get a gut disorder, you get, you're on the toilet, you've got pains in your stomach and you're feeling really unwell. You know, what is it for you? How do they feel in the body? So, oh, and I've got to remind you, we're meant to be writing the answers in your workbook. So we're on question 7 now. What need is it that you are trying to satisfy? So it may come as some surprise to know that it's not just about the food. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we just want to taste that food. But actually, very often, especially with women, is we're trying to change our emotional state. Who can relate to this? Yeah, we're trying to, it's very often is we want comfort. For me, I just want to celebrate. I just want a special evening. I just want, oh, it's Friday night. Let's make it special. Wine, cheese, biscuits, whatever it is. Oh, it's Wednesday night. How do we make it special? How do we relax? You know, let's relax, glass of wine. Let's, oh, cheer me up. I've had a bad day. Cheer me up. Let's have chocolate. Anybody? Yeah. Also, sometimes it can be because we're lonely, or we're just feeling low, or we're going through a lot. We're stressed. We're going through a lot. You know, life throws a lot our way, and it's very easy to turn to foods that we find, you know, or maybe we think we find comfort in, but let's find out if we actually do. So when you have the food, right? So let's say you're looking for comfort and connection. You've had a bad day. You want to be cheered up. You have a bar of chocolate or whatever it is, your treat. You're looking to be cheered up. Now, does that chocolate bar cheer you up? There's a big no coming from Wendy, Diane, Penny. Now, some people say to me, oh, it does, but for how long? So yes, there is pleasure on the taste buds when we eat something creamy and sweet, like chocolate. Of course there is. And that pleasure can give us a short-term boost. And the sugar in our bodies can give us a short-term boost. But how long does it last? 5 minutes, maybe just as long as the chocolate bar lasts, and then you want more. You want more chocolate. It's not changed your emotional state. You're disappointed now because it's finished. So although of course there's a reward in it, it's very short term, and it doesn't actually help us change the emotional state or fix the thing that we wanted fixing. Yeah, who can relate to that? Does that make sense? So we know it, but knowing it doesn't help us change. Now, in order to help us change, what we need is to find another way without deprivation. So if I say to you, right, you can't have chocolate anymore, that's not going to improve things at all. It's going to make you feel worse. So I would never do that. So what I do instead is say, right, okay, you can have the chocolate, but hold on. Let's have a glass of water, because you're probably dehydrated. Has anybody got their water with them? Because I forgot to mention it at the beginning. It's always a good, yeah, well done, everybody. Preaching to the choir. So I would say, right, hold on. Let's have a glass of water. Let's breathe. What is it we want? I want a chocolate bar. Yeah, but what is it we need? Oh, I need comfort. I want to be cheered up. Right, okay. So the chocolate's there, or it's in the shop. It's there for you if you need it. But let's do the work first. Here's some ideas. What else could we do or have or enjoy that could fulfill that emotional need for chocolate in a more wholesome way? Okay, so I've suggested the glass of water, which very often sorts it out for me. But it could be that actually I'm stiff and achy and I just want a hot bath. Just want a nice hot bath. Or I'm feeling cold and grumpy because it's been raining constantly here in the UK for weeks. Diane, you wouldn't know. It's been wet, windy. This morning, somebody's roof blew off and went 7 gardens down the street. So maybe we're cold, maybe we're grumpy. What can we do? Right, could we have a hot bath? Maybe light some candles and just enjoy and indulge. It's self-care we're looking for. Maybe we're looking for some connection. You know, maybe we're lonely. Phone a friend, play a game. With, you know, who else have you got around you or down the street or on the end of the phone? Sometimes just looking for human connection. Sometimes we're looking for something that really is a treat that you don't do very often. Maybe, you know, take out your arts and crafts or your coloring or read a book or, you know, something special that's like, oh, this is like, this feels nice when I do this. So there's lots and lots of things. Or if you've got a pet, cuddle the cat, walk the dog, go out for a walk, just get outside and have a walk in nature. And sometimes when we have the motivation, sometimes it just needs a suggestion. You could take this and pin it on the fridge and say, well, have a glass of water, try one of these activities first. And if you still want the chocolate later, have the chocolate. But I think by then you will be seeing reason, and you'll be feeling much more level-headed. And hopefully then this alternative approach will help you to follow through with the health objectives that you've already set out for yourself, which is, right, it's January. I'm not going to have an alcoholic drink or some chocolate. I'm going to try and get my health back on track. Whatever it is you've decided, you're more likely to stick to it if you can find another way of doing it. So I would love you to make a few notes in your book, in your workbook, about your reflections on how those foods feel in your body. There's a few things on here which are more the Christmas workshop, like is this food, or it depends which version you've got, but how the foods feel in your body and what you could actually do instead to meet that emotional need. But don't think, can't eat the chocolate, can't eat the chocolate, can't eat the chocolate. Don't think of it like that, because it's this, you need to work with your own psychology, which is a psychology of kindness and of allowing and of problem solving and of wisdom and of learning how foods feel in the body. So when you then eventually, you got your needs met, let's say you then have the chocolate, you probably go, well, I don't need it anymore. It's nice, but actually I didn't need it. And if we can drop the guilt around having that chocolate, lift the guilt and go, well, that's interesting. I had the chocolate and I didn't really need it, and actually didn't do anything for me other than a bit of a hit on the taste buds. Would I do that again? Maybe I'd treat that differently. Maybe I'd have a different type of chocolate next time. Maybe I'd have less chocolate. Maybe I wouldn't have chocolate. Maybe I'd have something healthier. Maybe I don't need anything at all, just a glass of water. Does that make sense, ladies? Yeah, so that's a technique that you can use. Pin some suggestions on your fridge, and always start with a glass of water. So any questions at that point about the techniques or the principles that I've spoken about so far while I have a sip? So at this point, with 10 minutes to spare, I would love to tell you about how you can take some of these principles and do a fast track to your health, vitality and weight loss on my Eat Well, Feel Great 90-day health transformation. So this is the one that I've been sharing in the group and on my Facebook. If anybody's seen any testimonials, has anyone seen any of my testimonials? So they come in thick and fast. I've coached 100 people through this program now, and 99 out of 100 have achieved weight loss, improvement in energy, improvement in sleep, reduced joint pain and stiffness, whatever the thing was that, it's not the same for everybody. Not everybody comes with joint pain and stiffness. It could be the high blood pressure, it could be the gut disorders, but 99 people have come through this program, released significant amounts of weight and achieved their goals, their health goals. There was one, my dears, bless her. She was an older lady who was on heavy medication. She joined to try and get her inflammation markers down. And what when I say I guarantee your inflammation will come down, we normally test it by see how puffy our hands are, or how inflamed our puffy our eyes or our ankles, or stiff joints. That's how I normally measure inflammation. She wanted a blood test to improve. That's what she was looking for, a result on the blood test. She followed the program to the letter. That blood test result didn't change. And so I gave her her money back. But everybody else who's been through this program has been 100% satisfied with the results. It's just incredible how well this works. And it's because it's not a gimmick. It's not a new diet. It's not, anything you've heard of before. It's just a re-education around learning how to eat, how we're meant to eat, how humans evolved to eat, and doing the work with, well, if I know I can understand, I understand now how to eat for health. But what if I want a little treat as well? It's doing the work on, well, what can you have? How often can you have it without doing yourself any damage? Yeah. So you've got the 90-day challenge. You end up, with one step at a time, one small change per week, one simple change per week. By the end of that program, you'll be feeling completely different with loads of energy. And then the question is how you want to adapt that way of eating to the rest of your life, where you can enjoy whatever food you want. So it's that ongoing lifestyle of freedom, of food freedom, but without it being a slippery slope back to where you started, and without it causing you, if certain things you could reintroduce in enough quantities that it would cause you to slip back. Well, we don't want that. So it's about how to reintroduce the foods that you really want to include. What you'll find is that it's surprising how you don't want the foods you had before, because when you learn how they felt in your body, you'll go, oh, actually, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And it doesn't taste the same anyway now. Now that you're eating much more nutritious foods, it doesn't taste the way you thought it tasted anyway. So your taste buds change. So I've put a few of the typical benefits in front there and with the green ticks. My average weight loss on this program is 21 pounds, which includes some people who've released 3-4 stones. What's that, like 3-4 stones is 15, that's like 60 pounds I've seen, and I've seen 8 pounds. But it's typical for somebody with a significant amount of weight that they want to release to release about 21 pounds. Not untypical, although couldn't guarantee the amount. Is different for everybody. But I've even had some people join who didn't want to lose weight at all. They were already very slender. They just joined for the health and for the better relationship with food. And even they lost 8 pounds. Whoops. But they know how to put it back on again. That's the thing. They know how to really get the old fat off, get some new healthy fat on. Right. So you get the message now. It's not a diet. It's not a detox, although it will detoxify because you're eating natural. Not a short-term fix. It's not a hack. It's not a gimmick. We haven't once talked about intentional movement or exercise. That's not because it's no good for you. Of course it is. We love you to move your bodies, but it's not about that. It's not about working out. We will encourage you to move in a way that's healthy and right for you. But it doesn't involve needing to work out down the gym or anything like that. It doesn't involve counting calories, weighing food, or limiting fats, because certain fats are essential, and we all need to get a bit extra virgin olive oil for health reasons. So I won't, you're not going to be told low fat this, low fat that. We've been through how it uses your psychology for lasting change, and no special foods to buy. It's not about necessarily having to buy a particular health food. It's just ordinary food that's in the supermarket. So here's just a little in pictures. Ditch dieting for good, because this is not a diet. This is relearning how to eat, and you'll never forget. Once you know how it feels in the body, you'll never forget. You will overcome cravings because you're getting your blood sugars stabilized. You can overcome the sugar addiction. The food industry will no longer have a grip over you. And more importantly, you're getting properly nourished with all the right nutrients, which is why we're so hungry all the time, because we're not nourishing ourselves properly. So overcome cravings and emotional eating, by going through this kind of exercise that I've walked you through today, over and over. You will learn to love food, learn to love eating for health. Whereas before I loved eating rubbish, I now love eating for health. I used to love nothing better than fish and chips. It was my favorite meal. Now, I might try it occasionally, but it's not my favorite meal. My favorite meal now includes a lot of vegetables and healthier proteins. And it would, it would be more brightly coloured. Fish and chips for me would be very too beige. So you learn how to really love colourful, healthy, natural foods. And actually, whereas you're like, yeah, I could try that again, and you still can, you won't love it so much anymore. We teach you how to burn fat. to go into a fat burning metabolism, nature's, what we call nature's spring, how we would have naturally eaten in the season of spring, so that the body burns fat, so that you're not trying to lose weight, you're just eating for health and the weight is coming off. It's not about spending ages in the kitchen. It's about being as quick and easy as you can with food prep, learning techniques that really help make food prep quick, easy, efficient. I don't waste any time in the kitchen, ladies. I want to be getting on with other stuff. I want to be playing a game in front of the TV. Find your mojo. So it gives you much more energy, and with energy comes vitality. With vitality comes motivation, enthusiasm, and wanting to go on. And, you know, my big why, the reason why I do this is, above all things, I am passionate about living life to the full. I am passionate about everybody living their fullest life. And that's why I do this, because once we've got health and we've got energy, that's what follows. So I would love to just quickly introduce you to my December graduates. Here we have, there were 20 on the class, that not everybody is in this photo, but I got them to hold up, on their final call, I got them to hold up a card showing you their top win. And I'll read a few out for you. Food is no longer in control of me. After 90 days, I feel well again and lighter. And Dee actually said she feels 10 years younger. So yeah, amazing. How amazing to feel. I feel 20 years younger. Honest to God, I feel better now than I did in my 30s, I can tell you. Alison, sustainable, healthy eating habits. Ellen, my positive energy is returned. And 22 pounds released. I feel so light. This is Nikki. This is the one who really overcame depression, stabilized her mood. She's just, her and her family are blown away with how much of an effect it's had. She only joined to lose weight. So she's put her weight loss on there as well, 14 pounds weight loss. My good friends, Jen and Paul. Jen joined because Paul needed to release weight. She didn't need to lose weight. A few pounds did come off, but she's sleeping well for the first time in years, and her headaches are gone. Now, she only joined for him. He lost 24 pounds. I say lost, we call it released, because once you've released it, we don't want it back again. Whereas if you lose your keys, you're looking for them all the time, aren't you? So we don't say lose weight, we say release weight. Who else have we got? Shazana, pain-free. Shazana joined because she was getting very heavy. She couldn't exercise anymore because of pain, joint pain. She's now pain-free. And Annabelle, 22 pounds. Kate, 21 pounds off. But here's the important thing. She joined because she needed to overcome rheumatoid arthritis, debilitating rheumatoid arthritis, reduce pain and inflammation. She's doing amazing. Got in touch with her yesterday, said, how have you been? How have you been over Christmas? She said, oh, I had a few experiments over Christmas. I tried a few of the old things. Never again. She showed me a photograph of the inflamed fingers. She couldn't get her rings off. By reintroducing some of the things that she'd taken a break from intentionally, she's like, oh, now I know for sure that when I eat like that, it comes back. So that's exactly the kind of thing that we encourage, is like, test it out. And so it's this ongoing confirmation of what it is that was causing the problems in the first place. And the list goes on. Dear Sam, I think that might have been the record on this group, 34 pounds in 90 days. It's not about how fast you can release weight. But for Sam, it fell off. You know, she wasn't trying to lose weight, but it fell off. Lost a stone, happy, lighter, more energized, and super food awareness. So there's a few people from my December class. And I just wanted to spotlight a couple of my dear clients from the class before that. Karen in particular, she was going through a hell of a time. She'd had 7 bereavements in the course of 6 months. She was really going through it, bless her. She was almost losing the will to live. She was living on toast and cereal. So nothing but bready carbs, no veg, no fruit. She wasn't drinking anywhere near enough water. She was very swollen, inflamed, and almost immobile. she did the challenge. It was quite a challenge for her to go from eating toast and cereal or not bothering to eat at all because she felt so low, to actually prepping food. It needed to be easy. It needed to be not too difficult. She did it, and she's come through this program. She's completely transformed the way she eats. And look at her now. I took that photo. We met in a coffee shop in Somerset. She's there in her gym gear. She turned up in leggings and a vest, bouncing everywhere, going from, that was the lady I met on the discovery call. And continuing, because she just feels so much better. You know, don't get me wrong, she's testing it out. She's had a few tests. She went on holiday, ate whatever she wanted, came back to me, said, I want to get back on track. I'm not doing that again. And she's, you know, she's in my membership, which when you join the membership, it's like, if you do ever sort of deviate or experiment a little bit too much, then the community is there for you to bring you back. Drew, can't believe that, the difference in Drew there. She's always been a runner. She likes to run a half marathon, but she was feeling very heavy, totally out of control with food. She didn't have a handle on it at all, and really losing body confidence because she liked to run and just feeling very uncomfortable in her running gear. Loving fruit and vegetables now, whereas before she hardly touched them. And this photograph she sent me looks like a lot more than 2 stone to me. 2 stone is 28 pounds. It looks like a lot more than 2 stone. And actually, that's interesting, because scale weight isn't actually the amount of fat you've lost off your body, because when you eat for health, you gain scale weight with bone density and muscle. So you gain in muscle, you gain in healthy body weight. So sometimes it looks like you've lost a lot more or released a lot more, but actually the scales is only showing you 10 pounds or whatever it is. So for me, I think this is more like a 3 stone weight loss, but Drew's gained muscle. That's what I think has happened, because muscle's heavier. So that is it, my lovelies, in terms of the program information. And I promised you, thank you all so much for being so attentive while I told you all about that. I promised you that I would share with you a special offer. And what I'm offering to everybody who attends this workshop or watches the replay is, if you would like to join my program, it starts on the 30th of January. So that's 2 weeks Monday. And for those who attended this, to say thank you, I will gift you a one-to-one coaching session, which can be used at any time in the program, or you can save it till after the program, whenever you need it most, so that we can check in, just you and me, and give you that extra help and support when you need it on the program. So that is my invitation to you. I'm going to stop sharing now. If anybody wants to take me up on that offer, all you need to do is just get in touch. I'm not going to give you a link or anything. I mean, there was a Scan Me that tells you more information about the, it takes you to my website basically and tells you all the information. So that's there. But the best way to find out if this could be for you is to book on a call with me, and let's have a chat. And we'll find out. We'll find out if this is something you'd like to do. And I'll be able to tailor that information to your particular condition, because I know we haven't discussed in any depth today. So just book on a call if that's something you might be interested in. There's a range of prices and packages available, which we can talk about on the call. So yeah, so just let me know about that. Are there any questions or reflections from you lovely ladies? Anybody would like to come on the microphone and say how they found it? Any takeaways? Anything that you'll do differently going forward? Oh, gone quiet. Let me unmute a couple of you and see if anybody wants to speak. Otherwise, we'll go off and enjoy our evening. So you've all said everything you wanted to say. So thank you so much for your lovely attention and for your lovely smiling faces. And to those of you that I couldn't see because you got your cameras switched off, that's absolutely fine. Lovely to see you all. I will be sending out the replay. Don't forget, if there's anything you've mentioned that you don't want included, just message me and I'll take that out. And if you have friends who would like to get this replay, they can do that on my website, probably wait till the weekend and then it'll be up on the website. So yeah, it's there for everybody. So another thing you can do if you're not ready to join the program yet, you're not quite ready to make that step, but you do want to be surrounded by this kind of idea, these principles, you can join my free group on Facebook. It's called Eat Well, Feel Great, Live Life to the Full. And I share lots of inspiration and tips in there. And on the back of your workbook, you should find some buttons, which if you know the digital version, you can press the buttons. Otherwise, the links are written in here, sueella.com. Go and have a look, and go and have a look at some of those success stories, because I've got lots and lots and lots on there now. It's just, they're coming in thick and fast. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for letting me run over a little. It's been lovely to see you all. Have a lovely evening and a lovely weekend ahead. And I hope to see you in the group. Take care. Bye.